Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our newest edition of United We Learn. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Kelker, President of Your United Way. During our program, please ask questions using the chat option. We will wrap up in 15 minutes, and United Way staff and guests will stay on to address any questions. If you are watching the recorded version and have a question, please send them to feedback@uwcil.org. Joining me today is Heather Wetzel, one of our Education Vision Council volunteers and the Administrative Director for the SIU School of Medicine's Population Science and Policy Division. Heather was scheduled to be our speaker for this simulation at our Community Report and Awards breakfast last year, but that breakfast had to be canceled right at the beginning of the pandemic. We are excited to finally be able to run the simulation. The United Way ALICE project is a grassroots movement committed to strengthening communities by improving the lives of ALICE. ALICE is an acronym that stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. These families live above the poverty level, but don't make enough money to afford their basic necessities. The United Way ALICE project raises awareness about an essential but previously hidden part of our community. This project provides a framework, language, and tools to measure, understand, and ultimately implement changes that will improve the lives of ALICE. United Ways in Illinois are proud to join the 21 other states and more than 628 local United Ways who are participating in this work. With the release of the Illinois report, we discovered that in Illinois there were over 1.1 million ALICE households in 2018. And here in Springfield, 16% of households are considered ALICE households. Now, to introduce ALICE, I will turn it over to Heather.
Good morning, everyone. So who is ALICE? ALICE is the home health care workers who help seniors stay in their home and live independently. ALICE is the daycare worker who looks after our children so we can go to work each day. ALICE fixes our cars, works in our local grocery stores, and serves dinner at our favorite restaurants. Across Illinois, ALICE is the backbone of our communities, working hard but not often having health insurance, vacation, or paid sick leave. And when the dollars run out, ALICE families are forced to make difficult short-term choices that can result in long-term consequences. For example, paying the heat bill instead of rent, or deciding to purchase essential medication or put dinner on the table. These choices are not easy. So, what would you do? To experience some of the tough decisions ALICE families have to make, we will answer 6 questions individually using our phones to see if we are able to stay within our weekly budget. For the purpose of this exercise, we will have 16 points. These points represent our money for the week. Answers will cost between 1 to 3 points. The choices that cost the fewest points should be obvious, but to truly understand what ALICE families go through, please select the answer that represents what you would choose in your life. Each question will pop up on your phone. So if you have not done so already, please either use your phone or a new tab on your computer and head to the website, pollev.com United Way C222, so that you can participate in the simulation. Currently on your phone, you should see waiting for United Way C222's presentation to begin. Once we start the poll, you will have 3 choices to choose from. We ask that you click the circle or text of your choice to answer. And after you answer, watch the screen to see everyone's answers as they come in. For this exercise, you are married. You and your spouse both work. One of you works full-time and the other works 2 part-time jobs. And in addition, you have an 8-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old daughter who you care for. So to recap, 2 adults, 2 children, 3 jobs. Are we ready? Great. For our first decision, you and your spouse need to decide the type of housing you will choose for your family. If you're asking the first question, please refresh your screen. You have to decide for your family of 4 whether you want to live in a 1-bedroom apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, or a 3-bedroom home. As we can see, it looks like the majority, while answering, is choosing the middle option. So let's see how much this cost us for the 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. That cost us 2 points. We have 14 points remaining. So let's go move on to the next question. So what choice will you make regarding transportation for your family? Remember, between the 2 adults, one is employed full-time and the other has 2 part-time jobs. Would you want to rely on public transportation, 1 car, or 2 cars? So it looks like most of us selected 2 cars for option 3. Our third question, we have to decide who is supporting the development of our 4-year-old child. A daycare center without accreditations, your neighbor, or a quality-related care program. Okay, thank you. It looks like as a group, we attended that top option. Child attends a quality child care program offering early learning components. So let's make one more decision before we check our budget. And for this decision, we're going to look at food. Would you like your family of 4 to have 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, or 3 meals and snacks? Okay, so the group split between 2 and 3 meals, but a majority had picked 3 meals a day. We'll go with 3 meals a day plus snacks. So let's check in and see how we're doing. Remember, we started with 16 points, and we're more than halfway through with the questions, and we have 5 points left. Okay, we have 2 questions left, so we'll see how this goes. Second to last decision, we're looking at healthcare. Again, there are 3 choices, and each of us must decide what we can afford and what we need for our family. Will you choose no health insurance through your employer for you, but not your family, or health insurance for everyone? Responses are in. We have chosen the third option, health insurance for you and your family through your employer. For the last question, how much money at the end of the day do you want to have after your bills and obligations have been taken care of? Are you comfortable having no money left, having $20 left, or $50 left? It looks like we picked $50 left over each week after all bills are paid. We are out of points. So now we're going to show you the results of our decisions as our remaining budget is shown. Yeah, we're at -1 point. So we did not make our budget for this exercise. And for many of us, this was just an exercise, but there are thousands of families who are faced with these decisions and more every day. But wait, there's more. We all know life can throw us a whammy or two. So what would you do if your car breaks down, your spouse loses a job, your child needs new clothes, or you're simply facing the price of gas increasing? These are life whammies that become crises for families with little to no savings. And these are almost daily whammies, I think, in this COVID environment. Imagine the continuous stress that Alice families feel. Think of the stress on parents, and imagine the stress on children. And how do you think these decisions made by these parents impact learning and school performance for the kids? These are the families United Way programs support every day, and it's these families that United Way investments help empower. Thank you so much for participating in this modified ALICE simulation. And with that, I will turn it back over to John.
Thank you, Heather. And thank you so much for participating in this simulation. It was interesting to see how our choices impacted that family. If your workplace would be interested in running the full 20-minute simulation, please reach out to your employee campaign coordinator or anybody on our community impact team. Our next United We Learn on April 30th, we will look back and highlight the impact we made with our community in 2020 because of our community's generosity. This concludes today's program, and we will keep the session open for a few minutes to address any questions that have been posted in the chat. Any questions that we do not get to in the next few minutes will be addressed and saved on our website. Trying to see, it looks like we do have a number of questions.
So more so just some observations. So Amy had posted that if we had picked $20 instead of $50, would we have had any of our budget left? And we would have actually been at zero. So we would have netted out. So still having 20, but having also spent our entire budget, and then the life whammies would have taken us completely into the deficit. And then Kay shared, so Kay, thank you so much for also being so vulnerable with us this morning, and telling us, you know, you lived that Alice life and that you opted out of health insurance. I bet that was so tough, you know, as a person and navigating. And I just can't imagine not having health insurance through all of COVID and everything, you know, and just being able to access those doctors when you needed to, just for reassurance. Oh. And then Amy, yeah, agreed. This is something, and the full simulation has 8 questions. And so it really does bring in every aspect of life. So we didn't talk about our 8-year-old. So what would we have provided for our 8-year-old? And we also, many families now are also caring for aging parents. And so we also have to think about what is the care that we're providing for our aging parent. And so that the full simulation goes into more detail with those factors as well.
And again, if you'd like to be a part of this simulation at a workplace, or even perhaps a civic club or another group you're a part of, make sure you reach out to us.
Kay, I'll add, I was an Alice family too, and I made some of those difficult decisions. I know growing up, when I turned 16, my mother opted to not have me on car insurance. So that was, that was a lot of work for, to convince the insurance companies I wasn't driving. I opted out of health insurance and made choices that I knew were not the right decisions, but I couldn't afford it. So, and like Katrina said, imagine not having insurance during COVID and being forced financially, even though, I knew that was not the right decision.
Yeah, and Kay, you are so correct with daycare. I'm a new mom, and when daycares were closed, I didn't have an option. So I was luckily I was able to work remotely, and I had a very flexible employer, but that's not the case for hundreds, if not thousands of families in town. So, and our daycares are also faced with really hard choices because they want to provide care, but they weren't at full capacity for a very long time. So yeah, Alice, there's some new information on the Alice website, and they've been specifically highlighting new research that points to the impact of COVID on Alice families. And so if you're interested, and they also updated our United for Alice Illinois page with new data graphics, new research with our data refresh that just came out. And it's just so eye-opening to really dive into our zip code data and to read those reports on the impact of COVID on our Alice families. And Mitch dropped both of those links into the chat. So thank you, Mitch, for that. Well, we are over time. So thank you all so much for joining us for 15 minutes this morning. And Kay, thank you so much for sharing. And Heather, thank you for sharing and also being a part of this simulation and leading it for us this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work you do. Have a great day, everyone.